First story. 20 years ago when I was 18 years old I shot an adult scene porn. I didn't intend to shoot the scene. I was going with my friend for support and when she chickened out at the last minute, I stepped in and did it. I regretted it immediately after and regretted it even more when I saw it on the internet. The video, which was about 30 minutes long, made its way around, mostly being shared on file sharing servers. This was post-Napster, so there were a lot of knockoffs at the time. But after a while the video seemed to disappear and nobody I knew ever found out about it. I met my husband a few years after I shot that scene and I never told him. I was ashamed and prayed that he would never find out. He never did, and we've been married for 15 years and have 2 children together. He is the love of my life and he satisfies me in every way. I check frequently for that video that I made, and unfortunately last week I found it again on an adult site. It's one of the more popular sites and I am now terrified that someone will find it. It could be someone that my husband works with or a friend of my daughter's. I'm just terrified. My question is, should I finally come clean and tell my husband? I know that he won't leave me if I do. He knows I was rather promiscuous before I met him, and he's been okay with all of the crazy things I did before him. But this is the one thing I never told him. It's the thing I am most ashamed of and I don't want him to ever see it. And that is what is preventing me from telling him, because I don't want him to see it. There are many reasons for this. The biggest for me is that I don't want my husband to feel insecure. The man I shot that scene with had a very large penis, and I made kind of a big deal about it when I shot the scene. My husband is a little above average in that area, but he isn't close to that guy. But none of the other guys I have even been with were either. I've had the best sex of my life with my husband, and that's the truth. But I still feel like he may lose his confidence if he sees that video. So what do I do? Should I just roll the dice and pray he never finds it, or just come clean? I'm not giving a link or title of the video so everyone can quit asking. My God, I want to erase the video from existence, not help spread it further. Second story. My wife told me a few weeks ago that she wants to separate, and I'm really struggling to work out how I feel about everything. It all started at the end of last year when she found a new job. We were both very happy as it was a job she really enjoys and it meant more money for the both of us. We had plans to use the money to finish work on the house and start a family next year. She made friends with a guy at work and she used to talk about him fairly often. I even met him one time and he seemed fine. This didn't alarm me as I have a very close female friend I talk to all of the time and nothing has and will ever happen there, so I didn't have an issue with this. A couple of months went by and the warning signs started to appear. She stopped talking about him in conversations, she started taking her phone with her everywhere, and she appeared very distant when we spent time together. I questioned her on this and she said there was nothing going on. I read her WhatsApp messages shortly after this and I didn't find anything to worry about. A few weeks after this, she said she thinks our relationship has started to become stale, and she was right. We've been together for 15 years. Married for 4, and we have been half-arsing our marriage lately, and we are both guilty of this. That was the kick up the arse I needed, and I started making a lot of effort. We talked a lot more than usual, spent more quality time together rather than just watching Netflix, and I planned a lot of things for us to do at weekends. It wasn't until after that I realized that all of the effort was coming from my side. Then she dropped the bombshell. She wants to separate. I questioned her again on this other guy, and she promised that nothing was going on and she would never do that to me. We had a very long talk, and she moved out and we gave each other space for a few weeks to think about how we can fix our issues and whether or not we wanted to. I felt like she was keeping something from me and I needed to find out what. I managed to find her internet history on our shared laptop that was syncing with her phone. She's been searching for date ideas, going back on the contraceptive pill and ways that she can be better in the bedroom. I made her come over immediately after I found this. I again asked her if anything was going on, and she denied it before I told her what I had found. She admitted that her head had been turned by this other guy, but again said that she hadn't done anything with him. He is also in a relationship with someone. So I've either been cheated on already or she's been planning on sleeping with this other guy, whilst she was meant to be thinking about saving our relationship. Either way, I feel totally unwanted and generally just feel like shit. When we spoke about this, I almost didn't recognize who I was talking to. When she first moved out, my feelings kept switching between missing her and having ill feelings towards her, and actually enjoying my time alone, and thinking things would be better this way. I still love this woman, but I also want her out of my life, which is going to be very difficult as we share a friend group and a lot of hobbies. There are no kids involved luckily, and everything will be a simple 50-50 split. I keep trying to focus on my new life that lies ahead. I have a good chance at getting a new job that I have wanted for almost 18 months, and I quite like the idea of an apartment closer to the city. But those feelings of betrayal are always there. Anyway, I don't know why I am trying this really. I just needed someone to listen to me vent. Third story. Hi, all. A long ramble. I apologize in advance. I've, M43, been married to my wife, F40, for 17 years. We have 2 children, age 8 and 10. Last night after the kids and I got home, my wife asked if we could talk. She wants a divorce. For context, my wife has a horrific eating disorder. She regularly spits out her food in front of the kids and I anxiety. Previously diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, no hygiene. Works out daily but hasn't showered in months, which all stems from childhood trauma. She also frequently thinks of death and is seeking an exorcism as she believes she is possessed. She is also on a multitude of medications. In 2018, she moved out for a trial separation for a few months. Only her parents knew, and then came home. I moved her in and out of the apartment she rented as well as cleaned it. My wife's mental condition has worsened for the last several months after a wrongful termination and the subsequent stresses and litigation involved with that. She also continues to regularly see her father who abused her when she was a child. She also admitted a few months ago that she regularly shoplifts as a coping mechanism. Obviously, there is tension in our marriage as I regularly beg her not to spit out food in front of us, to shower and not shoplift. Intimacy is also an issue understandably as she never makes eye contact and rushes, even though she initiates. We also rarely see each other due to work and extracurricular schedules and her social gatherings with her friends. In 2018, I was in therapy to deal with the stresses of her wanting a separation. My therapist informed me that I was the caretaker in our marriage and that our relationship was not normal by any means. I was dependent steady Eddie. When we got married we had a normal marriage. It wasn't until the birth of our first child that I learned of her abuse. The eating disorder followed soon after. However, despite everything I adore and am still in love with my wife. I would do anything for her. I am emotionally drained. She wants to live on her own to see if she can feel happiness. She also states that I deserve better. I know our marriage is not normal. She wants to rent an apartment near our home. We both agreed, as she insisted on discussing these details this morning, to no lawyers or division of assets. She has considerable more assets than I do. However, I am able to maintain the household without her support. We agreed we would sell our home when the kids move out and split the profit. We both want the kids to stay here and have some normalcy in their routines. However, my wife wants to still be friends, hang out and maintain our social network, which were initially all of her friends or the parents of our children's friends. She is extremely extroverted and has a magnetic personality whereas I am an introvert. She also wants to spend a few nights at our home each week. I told her that I do not believe that she will find happiness living on her own, as she does not deal with her trauma or eat disorder, but rather would have free rein to be self-destructive with her behaviors on her own. She also sees her father regularly because she believes he is dying, which exacerbates her condition. She does not want to try therapy, which given her state would probably not do anything anyway. She wants to tell the children this week. She does not want to tell them the true reason. Also, none of our friends know her true self as she hides everything she is going through. She wants everyone to know it was amicable. She also encouraged me to speak with some of our friends. However, I can't as they don't know the real reasons or the burdens she carries. Instead, I've been talking to her brother as he knows everything about her issues. My questions: what is the easiest way to tell our children? They are witnesses to her behaviors daily. Is it possible to maintain mutual friendships with our friend circle, or would it be best to go back to being a hermit? She deserves credit for helping me overcome my shy nature. However, I have no close friends of my own. Is it foolish to hope that once she moves out that she comes back again? I hope in my heart of hearts that she finds happiness, but given her past and reluctance for getting help, I know better. How does one move forward from this? Update. I'm an idiot. I posted here a few months again regarding my STBX. Long story short, we had a codependent caretaker relationship due to her multiple behavioral health problems. Anyway, for the last 2 months she has been in treatment and making great strides. We even paused divorce proceedings, started marital counseling, and even had some great date nights. Note, my personal therapist was not in favor of this. However, today I was checking the Ring doorbell footage, as I received a dozen motion alerts in a short period of time, and lo and behold, my STBX was caught on camera talking to her friend about the new guy she was seeing. I confronted her and she reported it was just emotional and that she is conflicted. I am a ducking idiot. That is all. Update. Do I warn her? I recently discovered my STBX had an affair while pretending to be one to reconcile our marriage. Yesterday, an unknown caller sent me the name of STBX's affair partner. I didn't want to, but I researched him and discovered a myriad of charges, some pending, for assault, battery and DUIs. My wife on the other hand has a myriad of behavioral health issues: anorexia, OCD, BPD, etc. Part of me wants to warn my STBX of who this guy is. She confessed after I told her I knew who he was that she has only met him at bars and knows very little. But at the same time she discarded our family and moved on. It's a moral dilemma. Has anyone experienced this? I don't know what to do, if anything. Update. Thank you. I appreciate all of the feedback. My 2 children live with me in the house as my STBX elected to move out, and she does not talk to her family, as they do not support her decisions or her inability to seek help. Instead of reaching out to her, I did reach out to one of her friends who is also our neighbor. Apparently, STBX supposedly already knew about this dude's past. For a clear conscience, I did text STBX copies of her dude's court dockets. She acknowledged that she knows and that he could be the one. She has several mental health issues but acknowledged this information. Given her declining state, once he discovers her issues she will probably move on to the next guy. The financial settlement was already completed and signed off on, and the custody agreement I was seeking full custody is still with the lawyers. I like the idea of a restraining order and will look into that. My children and I have been in therapy and I am glad, sadly, that they realize that their mother is not well. I only hope they never find out about her cheating or this dude. Update. I am slowly losing my mind. I've tried Graraking, but it's not working, and only appears to make her worse as she consistently blows up my cell and personal phone. I block her at night, but during the day unblock her as she is still listed as an emergency contact for the kids as she still has parental rights. Note, custody is still pending. STBX now reports that she has no feelings for the dude now and only wanted to see if she could feel something for someone for once in her life. She still sees him though, and at the same time states that she is also reconsidering divorce and mentions this in front of the children when she sees them. WTF. Did I mention that she is also sharing how she thinks about death now? All of this stuff is being shared when the purpose of the interaction is supposed to be solely about the children. Pray for me. My sanity is slowly eroding. Maintaining sanity. I've posted 44 AM previously in this and some other forums about my pending divorce from STBX. We have 2 children in common. I have the children as STBX has moved out and has a new partner. My STBX suffers from a myriad of mental health problems, anorexia, BPD, OCD, PTSD, etc. stemming from childhood trauma. Though therapy, I have learned a lot about myself, and that I have also been a solo parent caring for both my two children, 8 and 10, as well as being a caretaker to my STBX. Hello codependency. I had thought everything was done except the finalization of paperwork. However, STBX, despite my attempts at the 180-degree and no contact when she does not have the kids, custody pending, continues to tell me. I walk away or ignore the texts about her partner and then talks about reconciliation in front of the children. In therapy, they talk about missing their mom as well as how her behaviors affect them. STBX also has been talking about death lately. She is mentally ill, but has not sought the help she needs despite being clinically diagnosed with all of these issues. I truly fear for the children that she will give into the darkness that haunts her. I don't know who this person is anymore, but I still care about her. I try not to reminisce on the past, but it's hard. I have always been steady Eddie, however, the stress is getting to me. I have had 3 panic attacks despite my attempts at mindfulness, meditation, disappearing on the weekends for long hikes, kids with friends. I also rage exercise, though I don't really eat like I used to or sleep. I do not want to go on any medications. However, it may come to that as I am putting all of my energy into proving stability for my kiddos. For those that may have experienced something similar, are there any alternatives to medications that worked for you? 4th story. So my wife, 21, had an affair. I, 21, am willing to work through it because I realize I was not at all good either, and I believe we can fix things and have a better relationship. The tricky part is it was with a coworker, and she can't leave the job because we need money. He has come up to her several times to try and work on things. She has been completely honest with me about each time and has blocked him completely. However, this past time last night he has taken it to a further level than before. He has called her several times even though she has him blocked. He does the star thing to get past. He has used other phones to call her. He left an angry note in her work locker as well. Finally, he has messaged me that they were still having an affair and he didn't know we were working things out. I think this all sparked this last night because someone told him I was picking her up from work. Logistically, I know he is saying that to stir me up and probably break us apart, but it has really messed with me. I feel like we both are worried to complain to her work because he may take this more drastic, and he has been ever erratic. 5th story. It's been 4 days since my life was forever changed. I don't recognize myself, my situation, my partner, my future, my past. Everything feels confusing and unfamiliar. I've become obsessive over the affair. Who she is, why her life, her marriage, her relationship with my husband, every detail of how it started and how it got this far. I have moments of utter sadness and complete devastation. I have moments of anger where I want to be violent. I'm experiencing self-loathing. I don't want to eat. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to put on makeup or take care of myself. I have thoughts about wishing I wasn't here anymore, because that just seems like the easier option. I'm trying to be patient and understanding and respectful, but why do I have to be that for him when he wasn't that for me? He hid this for months, never respected being honest with me. Continued to lie, continued to pass boundaries he knows would never be appropriate, and waited until they said the words they couldn't take back to then tell me. Still 4 weeks later, I struggle with trying to be the mature and rational one when I'm dying on the inside. I can feel him drifting further away from me. He sees me in his past now as just someone he hurt, a side character in his story. I've never felt so deeply pained. He paints this idea of struggle he has had, and I'm trying to empathize with it, but I struggle with the lies and manipulation he fed me. How can someone so hurt someone else so badly? I hate this other woman. She's married. He's married. She crossed so many lines. Of course she wants my husband. He's nice, he's sweet, he's attractive and smart and funny. Anyone would want him. She's his co-worker too. It's incredibly inappropriate on all fronts, and why would my husband want that from anyone? I look at her and she's not even his type, in my opinion. But she's apparently being abused and my husband is a caretaker at his core. I feel like she has that hold on him, that she needs rescuing, and it's given him meaning to rescue her. But has he forgotten about me? I needed rescuing too. All those years ago, I was lost, insecure, childhood trauma, depression, anxiety. Our relationship created a safe space for me. I became more confident, more successful, happier. I slept better, I ate better, my emotional state was so much better. I thought that safe space was something we created and nurtured together, but from what he says, he has never felt comfortable opening up to me or having hard conversations with me. But other than the affair, what hard conversations have we had to have? We have always gotten through everything together. Our toughest conversations have always been around intimacy, not even emotions. It's not like he had an intimate relationship that I know of. I just can't make sense of it. I'm reading books, listening to podcasts, studying threads as my brain does this rational gymnastics to understand him, but I can't. I feel like I've lost him already. Sixth story. I 38F found out my husband 40 meters of 14 years was having an affair with a coworker. I was utterly crushed. We had a really good relationship, and I never would have suspected that he was cheating on me. I looked the AP up and she had a boyfriend of 2 years, so she was cheating on him the entire time. Obviously, I felt it was right to tell her boyfriend that she was cheating on him with proof. I would have wanted to be told in the same situation. He asked if we could meet once so I could tell him what was going on. I met him and he was absolutely lovely, ridiculously handsome, and funny. It really solidified that cheating had nothing to do with a betrayed partner, because I was feeling insecure about it before. He also offered a revenge lay and I obviously declined. We agreed to confront our partners on the same day, roughly same time. Afterwards, I told my husband that I knew he was having an affair. He immediately begged for my forgiveness and said that he was sickened about what he had done. If I gave him another chance, he would spend the rest of my life making it up to me. He said that he was feeling insecure about aging and no longer being the man he once was. To get some of that back and to show off his wealth and power. We talked about it for a long time. I told him that I told AP's boyfriend because unlike some people, I don't believe in hiding things from your partner, and the blood drained out of his face. He said that the BF was abusive and I should have never told him. The AP contacted him to say that BF had screamed at her for hours and she was afraid and needed my husband to come over. I told him there was no way he was coming over to help AP. We could call the police. After all, he knows her address. He left anyways, saying that he loved me, but AP's blood was on my hands if I said anything. I called the police and told them that I think there is a disturbance at AP's place. My husband came back later and he had a black eye. He claimed AP's BF got violent with him. He maintained that he did the right thing. That the police just told the two of them to leave before they both got arrested for fighting. He said that he couldn't believe I was so heartless because I had read the texts and knew BF was abusive. When I read the texts, all I saw were lies on lies focused on me because my husband would lie to his coworker about how the marriage was dead, and that I cared more about appearance than him, that I was using him for his money. None of which is true. I have a better job than him and a better financial position. I don't believe the AP's sob story. I refuse to apologize for telling the BF. My husband called me vindictive. He's been telling his side of the family, and I'm getting iced out until I tell my side of the story, which makes it more 50-50 on whether I did the right thing.